firm commitment. Examples of firm commitment include forward contracts, futures contracts, and even swaps. It is also worth noting that as far as firm commitments are concerned, both the long and the short have the obligations to deliver on the terms of their contract. These contracts, that is a contract relating to firm commitment, have key features. At the initiation of the contract, specific contract size will have to be determined. The underlying asset will have to be defined at the initiation of the contract. Also, the exchange of at least one cash flow or asset on specific future dates at a pre-agreed price will also have to be determined. So let's look at some few differences between forwards and futures. So the first thing to note is that when it comes to forward contracts, it is an over-the-counter contract, and that implies that we are dealing with higher counterparty risk. If we are dealing with over-the-counter contracts, that means there is high flexibility. However, when it comes to futures contracts, it is an exchange traded derivative, and here there is reduced counterparty risk. There is also reduced flexibility, but obviously there is increased transparency. Still moving on, it is also worth noting that as far as futures, or let's start with forwards, as far as forward contracts are concerned, the settlement is at expiration of the contract. But when it comes to futures contracts, we have daily settlement, or we could say daily mark to market. So on a daily basis, the loser would settle the winner. Forward contracts. To better understand forward contracts, let's look at this timeline. At the initiation of the contract, we have time t equals to 0. At the expiration of the contract, we have time equal to capital letter T. It is also worth noting that the price of the underlying at the initiation of the contract, that is at time t equals to 0, is S0. The price of the underlying during the transaction is S small letter t, and the price of the underlying at expiration of the contract is S capital letter T. It is also worth noting that the price agreed at time t equals to 0 but will apply at the expiration of the contract is what we call forward price. And the forward price is connoted using F0 into bracket T. It is worth noting that this F is capital letter F. Still moving on, to better understand forward contracts from a practical perspective, let's look at this example. Imagine I intend to buy a laptop in 3 months' time from now. But I locked in the price that will apply in 3 months' time from now. I locked in that price today. Let's imagine I locked in a price of $100 that will apply in 3 months' time from now. Because I intend to buy in 3 months' time from now, that means I am the long forward. the counterparty that would sell to me in 3 months time from now will be the short forward. It is also worth noting that I, as a long forward, will have a positive payoff if the stock price at expiration, that is ST at expiration, is, let's say, 120 US dollars. Because what that implies is that I will still be able to buy the asset for how much? $100. However, in the market, the asset is actually worth 120 US dollars. So what that implies is that I have a positive payoff of $20. So you can almost guess that the payoff to me as the long forward is ST minus F naught into bracket T. The ST for my example is 120 US dollars. Then the F naught, that was the price I agreed at initiation, but will apply at expiration. That is $100. So my payoff was positive 20, but the counterparty, who is obviously the short forward, will have a negative payoff of negative 20 US dollars. It is worth noting that as far as derivative is concerned, it is a zero-sum game. So if I have a positive payoff as the long forward and the positive payoff is plus 20, then the short forward will have a negative payoff. And it is also worth noting that on the exam day, once you have calculated the payoff from the perspective of the long forward, what you just need to do is to put a negative sign in front of what you've gotten for the long forward in order to get that of the short forward.